Hello, I am going today to talk about can we reduce the fear and pain of death. This is my new podcast. My name is Anil Rajvanshi, and I have been thinking about these issues for quite some time, and I have put together uh, what I have found. So, the introduction of this podcast: death is the most certain thing for any living entity, and yet we know so little about it. It may come earlier or later in life, but the inevitable always happens. Yet we carry out our actions and behave as if we are immortal, and death does not enter into our scheme of things. In a way, that may be a good thing because the fear of death may not allow us to be bold enough to do lots of things in life. Nevertheless, if we understand death, then we will really understand life. And this podcast will help us to live it fruitfully and happily. As we grow older, death appears more often in our vision field. Hence, a curiosity arose about what is the nature of death and why we fear it. I wrote my first book, Nature of Human Thought, in 2004, and this is available from Amazon and other places. In fact, this talk is available uh, on complete talk is available on the URL which I am putting in the properties section. And in this book, Nature of Human Thought, one of the main chapters was on death. It was based on the basic tenet of Indian philosophy and how it pertains to death. Most of the material was therefore heuristic in nature, and death was explained in general terms. Death, to my mind, is a very physical process and is the final exit of the body. Hence, I felt that it should be governed by physical, physiological, and neurobiological laws. This thinking has led me to this essay and this talk. So, why we fear death? All living entities, from the smallest to the largest, fear death. In fact, fear defines an entity as living. Without fear, the entity is not a living being, but is a non living. Fear is ingrained in our DNA from time immemorial and is a part of the evolutionary process. Death is very necessary for the evolution and rejuvenation of genetic material. The fear of death comes from fear of losing form. Every life, every living being has a form, and the fear of death comes from fear of losing this form and from the fear of unknown. Loss of form means losing lifetime memories, and this probably produces both emotional and physical pain. The combination of present form and with it its unique memories cannot be replicated in any reincarnations, and that is what we fear most, to lose it. There are two types of memories in human beings. One is the brain memory, which is a sum and substance of all our living experiences. Another is the body memory, which resides in cells all over our body and consists of storage of lifelong experiences of the forces acting on our body. During death, both these memories are shed. The shedding of brain memory produces emotional pain, whereas body memory shedding produces mostly physical pain. Brain memories are fairly well understood. A lot of work has been done all over the world and a lot has been written about it. However, cellular or body memories are not, and I feel that they play a major role in the fear and pain of death. So, what is cellular memory? We exist because of cells. Cells are the basic building blocks of all living things, and every part of our body contains cells. There are close to about 40 trillion cells in human body, including those in the gut bacteria, though the exact number is not known and it is very difficult to even find out. They vary in size depending on their function, but have an average size of 20 to 30 micrometers or microns. And by comparison, a human hair is about 20 to 200 microns thick. So these are very small cells. Cells are basically mini factories. They take material from surroundings and convert it into energy, create new materials, which is basically genetic information. They create structures like bones and cells, muscles, and also replicate themselves. Thus, they take part in managing every aspect of the body function. Cells also have memory, which they acquire through the system of epigenome, and it can be conjectured that the combined memories of all cells form the part of body memory. Some of the cells also have long-term memory. There have been many instances where organ transplantation has resulted in a change of behavior in the organ receiver. Scientists speculate that this could only happen due to the body memory embedded in the organ. So the organ transport of the heart, liver, etc. have changed the character and the personality of the receiver, and the detail and the URL of all the research has been listed in this talk that I am giving. For smooth running of the body, cells communicate with each other. Communication among them takes place mostly by chemical means, by exchange of molecules. This exchange of molecules also produces biophotons as a byproduct of chemical reaction and helps the cells to communicate photonically. Photonic communication is the fastest way for the cells to communicate with each other and with other parts of the body. Cells communicate to help in growth, development, differentiation, etc., and also to transmit danger cells signals during certain cell death. Besides, they also communicate to activate the immune system or immune defense system when injury or infection takes place. So, what is the nature of pain? This reaction by cells to danger sometimes results in producing inflammation and pain. Inflammation helps in the healing process, but sometimes it goes out of hand and nobody knows why, and this leads to runaway events like cancer and tumor formation and other situations where cell production gets out of control. Thus, the pain in the body is an outcome of the inflammation caused by cell death. Emotional pain during death comes from losing form and memories, and physical pain comes from the inflammation in the body. Though both pains excite the same centers in the brain, it can be conjectured that during normal death, which is due to old age, disease, etc., there is a frantic conversation between the brain and body memories, but ultimately the brain decides when to end the existence, and that results in brain death. However, when the death is sudden and painless, for example, during sleep, due to accident, by heart failure, etc., etc., the body memory does not have the time to interact with the brain completely, which then becomes the overriding entity to decide about the exit. This is very evident in the case of suicides, and the body may be healthy, but the brain is distraught and in tremendous emotional pain, and then decides to take the drastic action. The pain and fear of death is therefore inevitable, but it may be possible to minimize it. And I feel that if by some means death can be made painless, then people may not be afraid of it, and this will reduce drastically the fear of death. Tomes have been written in philosophical and spiritual literature all over the world and in different civilizations on how to reduce this pain. In fact, Siddhartha became Gautam Buddha when he saw an old man dying and resolved to discover the process by which this pain could be reduced or removed. This is how he discovered the middle path. So, how can we reduce pain? Most of the pain signals from the body reach the brain through the spinal cord. Ancient yogis knew of how to stop these signals reaching the brain by the practice of Kundalini Yoga. It is a very difficult process, but the possibility exists. And I have given the URL of the Kundalini Yoga and how it can reduce the pain signals reaching the brain. Pain reducing agents or opioids do the same thing quite easily in modern medicine. However, opioids have serious side effects and large number of deaths occur because of their overdosage. The greatest effort of mankind therefore should be in developing pain reduction technologies and systems which are easy on the body and with very few side effects. This will have a far-reaching effect on the physical and mental well-being of mankind. Unfortunately, because of greed, big pharma companies all over the world are putting very little resources in this area. So, how can we reduce the fear of death? The fear of death has been reduced in people who have experienced near death experience. Near death experience or NDE seems to happen when a person is declared clinically dead but after some time returns to life. Quite a number of people during NDE episode have reported that their whole life flashes by and almost all their past actions become visible. In majority of the cases, tremendous positive change in attitude towards life and death takes place after the NDE episode, and therefore they are not afraid of death anymore. Thus, if we think of death as a part of continuum, as evidence from NDE episodes where part of our memories get reincarnated, then we may be less afraid of death. However, reincarnation is by chance, as sage Patanjali has stated in his Yoga Sutras, and could be in any form. When that happens, our memory processing and evolution, depending upon which form we are incarnated into, may be disrupted. That could also be the cause of fear of the unknown after the death. It is also a sobering thought to ponder that nobody really knows what happens to our memories after death. Mostly are based on speculations. Many deep discussions in Indian philosophical systems like Mahabharata, Upanishads, Brahma Sutras, etc., have therefore veered towards instructing people to live a good life since they cannot provide a satisfactory answer to this conundrum. Most of them talk about reincarnation, but very few have been reincarnated, and whoever have been, they remember very little of the earlier life, and which is a good thing because what is the point of bringing the whole baggage of the past life into this new life? The reality, therefore, on how to reduce the fear of pain and uh, the fear of death is to reduce the pain of death by consuming safe pain relievers and reduce the emotional pain by living a good and happy life. Tomes have been written on how to live a good, healthy, and emotionally satisfying life, and this essay is not a place to describe all those possibilities. One possibility to have a good life is to live in harmony with nature and all the surrounding forces. One of the strongest forces surrounding us is gravity. Our body and mind can interact with Earth's magnetic and gravity fields. If right from childhood we are taught meditation and Sanyam is defined by Patanjali, then it can help us in tuning our bodies to these fields and create calmness and happiness in us so that the death may not be fearful and painful. This process will make us live sustainably in this world. We can then rightly be called Earth people, and our happy memories, which will remain attached to the gravity field of Earth after death, will then guide us to a bright future. And thank you very much for listening to this podcast. And I will greatly appreciate if I can get a feedback on this. Thank you.